everyone, and welcome back with Professor Chavez. Today we're going to learn about literal equations. We're going to be understanding and rearranging algebraic formulas. Our learning objectives. Students will be able to identify and understand literal equations, rearrange formulas to solve for a given variable, as well as apply algebraic operations to isolate variables. The success criteria. I can explain what a literal equation represents, correctly isolate any variable in a given formula, check your rearranged equation for accuracy. So let's go ahead and get started with example 1. We're going to go ahead and solve for x for the equation 2x plus 3y equals 12. Now remember, the variable we want to isolate is x. So we're going to get rid of everything that is on the same side of x. We're going to subtract 3y because we have a positive y. And what we do to one side, we're going to do to the other side. Since this one has a variable and 12 doesn't have a variable, we're going to go ahead and put 3y on the side. Now we have 2x, 3y minus 3y gives you 0, equals 12 minus 3y. Now, our variable is still not isolated. We still have a coefficient of 2. And since we know we're multiplying, the inverse of multiplication will be division. So we're going to go ahead and divide everything by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is going to be 1. So we have x is equal to 12 divided by 2 is 6, minus, since 3 can't be divided by 2, we have 3 over 2y. So our final answer would be x is equal to 6 minus 3 divided by 2y. Example 2. Solve for b if a equals half of hb. So the variable we want to isolate is b. So we need to get rid of everything that's on the same side as b. In order to do this, we're going to go ahead and get rid of the coefficient of a half. To get rid of the coefficient of a half, what we're going to do is multiply both sides by 2. By multiplying both sides by 2, we're going to get rid of the coefficient. So 2 times a gives you 2a, equals a half times 2 gives you 1. So we're left over with hb. Next thing, we want to go ahead and get rid of the h. So since we know this is multiplication, we're going to do the inverse, which is division. We're going to go ahead and divide both sides by h. H divided by h is 1. So we're left over with b is equal to 2a divided by h. So that's our answer for example 2. Example 3. Solve for r. V equals pi times r squared times h. So remember, we want to isolate the r variable. To isolate the r variable, we need to get rid of pi and h. So we're going to go ahead and divide both sides by pi and h. Now we know v cannot be divided by pi or h, so we keep them as a fraction. Equals, we know pi could be divided by pi and h could be divided by h. So that leaves us r squared. Now remember, we want to know what r is, so we got to get rid of the square. The inverse of a square would be, so we need to go ahead and take the square root. So then we know r is equal to square root of v divided by pi times h. Conclusion. Remember, linear equations are formulas with multiple variables. By applying inverse operations, you could rearrange them to solve for any variable. We need to practice isolating different variables to master this concept. And thank you for joining, Professor Chavez.